Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a quick message here, a quick thank you. We just hit over 300 subscribers on the YouTube channel in, I think it took about 7 to 8 months. I actually set a goal to hit 300 in 3 months. Didn't quite work out, but 300 subscribers nonetheless is big. I think we're growing way more rapidly than we were before, and I just want to keep being consistent with the content. I would like to make you guys an offer. So if I can get another 300 subscribers in half the time, that would be awesome. So I guess I could set another goal for 3 to, I would say 4 months. You can get another 300 subscribers. So if we get to 600 in 4 months, and any one of you guys who subscribes, I will be more than happy to hop on a 5 to 10 minute call and talk to you about your project for free. So again, if we can hit 600 subscribers in 4 months and you're in that first 600 wave, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description below, and I would love to hop on a call, discuss your project, get to know you a little bit for a short 5 to 10 minute conversation. Cheers. What's up YouTube, it's Rico here, CEO of Sourcify Asia, co-host of the Main Channel podcast and the host of the Sourcify Asia YouTube channel, and I'm back with another one. Fresh out of Manila. I just came from a work/vacation. I was there for a month during Chinese New Year. Had to get out of the, it's pretty cold in China right now, so I went there, got some nice little sunny weather, and a little bit of work in between there. Ton of content that we recorded. I stayed in 3 different parts of the city, BGC, Makati, and Mandaluyong, and I met some cool entrepreneurs doing some amazing stuff. At this stage, I think the refined video should be up right now as we speak. I should also have a couple videos with me and Harrison where we talked about 3rd year in China lessons and also thoughts on Manila. And then the 4th video that should be maybe up at this stage would be where I interviewed Mark. He buys and improves Amazon FBA businesses. So very interesting stuff. Definitely check those videos out before you watch this one or after you watch this one. In this video, I wanted to touch on a question that I get asked frequently, especially when I leave China, is, hey, should I look for factories in Vietnam or Thailand or these kind of places? So I wanted to touch on China sourcing versus the greater Southeast Asia sourcing. So when we talk about sourcing in China versus other Southeast Asian countries, obviously China has been the #1 manufacturer of anything for a very, very long time, right? And China is still the best place to get 90% of the goods that you're looking for made. But what's happening is with all this growth, all this success in mainland China, the cost of living is getting higher. The wages are becoming higher as well, and therefore it becomes more expensive to make products. So a lot of products that are very labor intensive, that require somebody to actually physically sit at a station and work on something and produce a product at the end of it, those are the kind of products that are now being transitioned out of China, and those are the products that are now being made in other Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, like Thailand, like the Philippines, like Cambodia, as I mentioned, and in Indonesia. Just simply because the cost of living and the wages are lower in those countries. Some people think that products are gonna, like the manufacturing is gonna completely shift away from China. At the end of the day, or it's gonna shift from China to like India. At the end of the day, China still has 1.4 billion people and growing. That just the sheer number of people that work in the manufacturing space just can't be matched by any other country. It could be by India, but then now we have to talk about infrastructure, right? Chinese infrastructure around manufacturing. This country's been built on that. So they just, everything from the shipping and logistics is the number one thing. So everything around the shipping and logistics when it comes to manufacturing is just designed for speed and reliability. Like you can ship something from Shanghai to Guangzhou, where I am, which is a 3-hour plane ride, right? Like you can ship it same day and it's gonna arrive there guaranteed within probably 24 hours. You know, Amazon's trying to do that in the US, but like this is just regular shipping. It's not even express shipping, and you pay like $1 or $2 to get that, well, $2 roughly to get your stuff shipped from one place to another. And without fail, I've done hundreds of, probably thousands of shipments within China at this stage, and we've maybe lost like 2 or 3 products. Like there's never been an issue. It's always, and if it does get delayed, then usually they're able to find it. And if you're ordering a product from a specific place, like a store or whatever, they usually replace it if it gets damaged in the shipping process. So they figured out like logistics. They've made it reliable, they've made it fast. Obviously the manufacturing side of things, they figured that out as well. They know how to deconstruct a product and replicate it very effectively. And then from there, even the machinery, right? So like the machines are pretty fucking expensive. Like I just spent, before Chinese New Year, I spent about 6-7 days with a client traveling around northern China and southern China, sourcing plastic injection molding machines, which I will have a video about probably close to when this video comes out. And I mean, these machines cost at minimum $60,000, and it can go, and that's just the machine. There's also ancillary things that you have to buy around it. So like if you buy one machine, it's gonna be like 100,000, a little bit over 100,000. That's for small parts. If you wanna make something slightly larger, like a cup or a helmet, which is what we were sourcing, you're talking about machines that cost $160,000 to $200,000, and they go all the way up to $1 million. So the idea that some of these countries where these factories are popping up are all of a sudden just going to buy going to spend millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars on machinery, let alone the shipping cost of shipping a giant injection molding machine from Guangzhou to Bangkok or Chiang Mai. Like, it's not feasible. It's going to take such a long time for those countries to get that stage. And then, like I said, they just don't even have enough people to get to that level where China is. So China is always going to dominate manufacturing in the sense that they have the infrastructure, they have the machinery, they have the workforce. But what's going to happen is it's going to be products that are more based around automation, products that require machinery, specialization, things like that, and then speed as well. That's something that China is always going to have over any other country. The other countries might be able to beat China based on price, but it's probably going to take longer. It's probably going to be less reliable, and it's probably just not going to be feasible when it comes to certain products that require, a lot of machinery. And also I noticed that even on the few occasions where we've spoken to factories in Vietnam and such, their minimum order quantities are significantly larger. And that's probably because of what I just said, is like the infrastructure is in there. So if you have, you have to pay your workers a certain amount, and then somebody wants to place an order with you for like 50 units or 100 units on a bag, it might not be worth it for them to take the order, because it's like, for them to set up the whole production process for this product and then only make a couple hundred units and maybe make like a couple $1,000s, it's like, doesn't make sense. But in China, if you wanted to do that, they've done that so many times. They have the machinery, they have a way to make sure that they're still profitable while working on smaller orders. So that's another advantage that China has over these other countries, is that they don't necessarily need to have a large minimum order quantity to work on your project. I guess the advantages of working with the Southeast Asian countries outside of China is language, right? So if you work in the Philippines, if you're sourcing from the Philippines, if you're sourcing from Thailand, if you're sourcing from even Vietnam to a certain extent, you're gonna find less language barriers, right? Especially the Philippines. I mean, everybody speaks English. So it's just gonna be a little bit easier to source the products because you can actually communicate with the people relatively straightforward, relatively easier, I mean. But The negative side of things is that it's significantly difficult to find factories remotely. Like if you're going to deal with the Philippines and Vietnam, like they're not listed on Alibaba. They're obviously listed on other sites. Maybe some factories are listed on Alibaba, but it's just not as much of a, there's not as much of a clear-cut resource to find these factories that are in the other Southeast Asian countries. So that means you either have to find the equivalent of my company in those countries, and then again, that's also difficult to find. Like I've tried doing it, it's not easy to find, sourcing people that are in those specific countries. So then that leaves you with the other thing of like having to physically go there and go there and source the factories yourself. So it's just a little bit more difficult because again, the infrastructure isn't in place, not even just from a on the ground standpoint, but even from an online standpoint, the infrastructure just isn't quite there yet. But again, there are advantages because it's cheaper. Like I said, communication is probably going to be a little bit easier, so there's going to be a shorter learning curve than there is to dealing with Chinese manufacturers. So you just kind of have to weigh up those options. Like if it's imperative that your product is a certain price point, then yeah, I would say, and it's a textile, something that involves sewing and hand stitching and stuff like that. I think a lot of bags make sense outside of China. Shoes, clothing, like all this stuff is already being made outside of China, So those are things that I would take into consideration. And if you're also dealing with larger order quantities, I would take into consideration, checking out those countries. But just be prepared to spend a lot more time finding the factories, spend a lot more time like learning, how it works there, because even from a shipping and logistics standpoint, it's different from here. And there's just so much more resources when it comes to dealing with China. I think obviously things are shifting, and there's probably going to be platforms that pop up that consolidate sourcing from all these other Southeast Asian countries. There's probably platforms that exist that I don't know about, but it's just not as clear-cut as Alibaba. So good luck with your sourcing, guys. I hope this video helps you make a decision as to whether you want to work with China or you want to pursue, Vietnam or Thailand or the Philippines or Cambodia or Indonesia. And I will see you guys next week.